Hello, my name is Deb Coviello with the USWCA, and I have the good fortune today of getting to know Susie Hansen out of the Milwaukee Curling Club. So, welcome to the interview, Susie.
Thank you.
So, I'm so excited, just wanted to get to know more about you. We haven't had a chance to get to know each other before this, but could you just share a little bit for myself and the people who are going to watch this about a little about yourself personally? How long you've been curling, and a little bit about your curling journey. There's always an interesting story behind that.
Sure. I actually have only been curling for 4 years. But within those 4 years, I really just dove headfirst into it. Within the first year, I was curling, I don't know, 4 or 5 days a week, subbing on any team that I possibly could, going to as many bonspiels as I could. I think the first year I only went to one, but the second and third year, I went to like 8 or 10 bonspiels. I really just immediately was addicted to the sport. Always loved watching curling growing up on TV, but I wasn't really sure how to get into the sport of curling. And then 5, 6 years ago, I had a couple coworkers ask me if I wanted to do a learn to curl at the Milwaukee Curling Club. And I was like, I absolutely want to do this because I've always loved watching it on TV. And I didn't know that this was possible to be able to, participate in it, recreationally. So I did it and found out that, you can sign up to be a member of the club and curl in leagues. And immediately it was like absolutely signing up. And ever since then, I've just been completely obsessed with the sport of curling and, strive to get better, strive to teach other people about the sport. And really just am trying to expand, the sport of curling to other people as well.
And I think what the circuit is doing, having us engage in some of these conversations, is exactly what we should be doing. And especially when, we're living a little bit in a virtual world. Right now, we're not curling as much as we can, finding different ways to just spread the word about this community, not just the USWCA, but additional opportunities to curl in the circuit. So tell me a little bit. I understand you've participated quite a bit in the circuit. What's been your experience? What have you enjoyed about it?
Sure. Yeah. So my second year, I was curling. I actually joined the circuit, and it was really great because it got me wanting to go to more bonspiels, especially those that were participating in the circuit. So that's more competition that we have, right? So I'm competing more, but you also just get to meet so many more women from other clubs, which it's just so great because you got the whole spirit of curling, meeting a lot more people, great competition. And there's always the perk of you can win money back at the end of the season. So
It is always a perk, not just, here's our parting gift. I mean, they're always wonderful. You never expect it, but it's always nice. But this question is not on the list, and I've got some interesting things. What would you say from your participation on the circuit is maybe the most memorable event, whether it's the competition or a story?
sure. It would probably be the five and under that I did with a couple of the women from my club. It was the five and under women's for Wisconsin and Illinois. So that was my first time ever vicing in a bonspiel, and it was the first time my skip had ever skipped. I think in general, not even just at a bonspiel. So just overall, there were, I want to say, 24 teams. So we had a lot of games that we had to do, and the semifinals and the finals were quite the battles to be able to win. We ended up winning the five and under, so that was pretty awesome too. Yeah, a lot of really great
Amazing.
games though against those women.
I think that if I could just share a quick story, that's one of the things I really love. So I originally started out in the GNCC, and I was in the five and under circuit they had over there. And I had moved to Cincinnati and was going to miss my fifth year, but I was still a social member with the Plainfield Curling Club. And I put together a team. And it was one of the few times I had ever skipped. The other person was a vice, and I had two newbies on the front end. And thank you for everybody that came together from Bucks and Ithaca. And we curled and made it to Sunday. So talk about it is possible
Yeah,
to bring people together that you never curled together and maybe not a lot of experience. And you can do quite well.
absolutely. And our lead was brand new that year. And usually with leads, you don't ask for a lot of takeouts, but we asked a lot of takeouts out of her, and she was really, every time our skip asked, "Can you take this out?" She'd be like, I'm like, you got this. Just don't get that negative thought in your head. And she did great. She played awesome. She made a lot of takeouts and she was nervous about it, but she played great. It was a great time.
It sounds like my Thursday night team. I'm Skip and I got advice. And she says, Deb, do it. I'm like, what? What do you want me to do? I believe in you, Deb. Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I will. And most of the time you do it. But anyway, it's a great confidence builder, if nothing else, just the camaraderie and just trusting in each
Hmm.
other. I think that's one of the biggest things I'm taking away from this sport. So, cost of participating in the circuit versus the benefits. What's your take on that?
I think the cost is great. I mean, it's very minimal, especially since you're playing. It's over 6 months really that this cost is spread. And you get to go to a lot of different bonspiels. To me, being a part of the circuit has made me want to go to more bonspiels, especially those that are linked in with the circuit. Because you want to perform better, and if you perform better at the circuit, and then you can get money back. Um, so to me, the cost is very minuscule, very worth it, to be able to participate in more bonspiels and meet more women, have more competition.
And I am this is why I love these interviews. First of all, thank you for this because I one get to know a little bit more about the women in the USWCA, the women in the circuit. I would even say if you're ever looking for a fourth, I'm a freelance curler as well. I look to get out on the road a little bit, see a few new places, see a few clubs, and get to know more women. Any last thoughts for anybody thinking of getting into the circuit but haven't yet taken the plunge? Anything else that you'd like to share with everybody?
Sure. I mean, if you're thinking about joining the circuit, I think it's absolutely the right decision to join the circuit. You'll meet a lot of great women from many different clubs because, usually you just curl at your own club and you meet your same women, but this is a way to just meet so many more women, such great camaraderie. You really just enjoy the sport of curling that much more. And you really just get that much more spirit of curling involved.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being a great guest. I am excited to finally get to know you and, maybe someday in person to compete with or compete against at one of the circuit events. So thank you so much and wish you good curling.
Yes, good curling. And I hope to curl with you sometime soon.
All right.